If you've ever struggled financially, or have ever struggled to grow your business and you don't know what to work on, when to work on it, how to work on it, and why, this is going to help you. Because this is all about the deep work that it takes internally. That way your business will actually do what you want it to do and be able to serve you instead of you just serving it all of the time.
Hi.
Hi. So, I'm a big Mike Michalowicz fan. And the reason I'm starting off with him right off the rip is because he put together one of the greatest presentations and diagrams and books, in my personal opinion, on what to fix next in your business. And in this episode, I want to correlate how the mental foundations, which we went over last episode, the 5 mental foundations of, do you remember them? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Please don't. Please don't.
Awareness, cognition are the 2 biggest foundational pieces. Business and life principles. Your principles, your work ethic.
And, no, don't tell me, I know the word.
If you know the least important one, but not the most important ones.
Systems.
Processes. Yes. Yeah. Systems and processes. That's fine. That's fair. They can fall into the same
How'd I
thing.
do on the pop quiz?
Not great. So those 5 and how they correlate into what you should be working on in your business and how you can develop and how you compare those 2 together. So the book that he wrote, the presentation that he put together, is called Fix This Next. So if you ever have questions and need clarity on what you actually need to be working on within your business, that's where to go, in my personal opinion. It's one of the greatest resources that you could possibly have at your fingertips at any given time. So go check that out. If you haven't ever heard of Mike Michalowicz, go check him out. He's a great author. He provides great information. I love the dude. He's got some really great books like Profit First, Fix This Next, Pumpkin Plan, Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. He's got all kinds of books and resources out there, so definitely go check those out. And the reason I wanted to say that right up front is because you're going to see a correlation. If you are a Michalowicz fan, you're going to see a correlation between the mental foundations, which we talked about last episode, which is what I work on all the time, and the business principles and business foundations on what to work with and why. So that's what I want to go over here.
All right, hit me with it.
And we're going to be able to correlate. Maybe we'll be able to use your business as an example.
Always do.
Like, it's always the perfect example. So in the 5 mental foundations, we have awareness, cognition, business and life principles, those being the 3 most important, and then you have your work ethic and your process. So how those correlate within business specifically are what should you be working on and when should you be working on it? So first and foremost, you have to be able to answer questions like, can I actually sustain my lifestyle the way the business is run today? And if not, you need to work on sales, right? So the different levels for business are sales, profit, operations, and then it gets into more impact and giving. But I really want to focus on those bottom 3 today, those foundational 3, because that's where the mental foundations fit in the most. And then the last two foundations for business are really your impact, like your community giving, and then finally your legacy at the very top. And the legacy being the thing that you pass on, obviously. So how do the mental foundations fit in to the business foundations or the business principles? First and foremost, you got to be able, when you're trying to decide what to work on, I want you to think about how often have you been, well, I want to do this. I want to build this business because it's the one problem that you dealt with throughout your life, probably, right? That's something that usually motivates somebody to start a business, is it's some sort of pain that they have felt at some time. So therefore, they're going to be the ones to solve it. Now, the problem with that is a lot of people will try to start at the top of the pyramid. They'll try to start at the legacy or the impact or the giving, but you can't give from an empty cup. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes.
And you've ever accidentally focused on that, and then you realized, oh, I have to be able to take in before I can give anything out.
You're almost doing more harm than good.
You absolutely are.
Yeah.
Because one, whatever you're trying to give to is not going to receive the thing that they need. And you yourself are going to be taking from something that's already empty. And that's when you experience what people call burnout, what people call exhaustion or anxiety or stress, because they're trying to give more than what they have available. So in business, it's more black and white to me. Am I able to give? If the answer is yes, that means it has to be from a space of abundance. So that all starts with taking care of yourself first, taking care of yourself in your business first. So the way I like to look at it is, I got to be able to answer myself some questions. I got to be able to answer, am I able to sustain my personal life and my family's life, obviously, at this point, on the businesses that I have built today? Am I able to sustain them on a single business? If the answer to any of that is no, I have to be focused on the sales, the actual gross revenue, the actual money intake aspect of the business, and that's it. I don't need to be focusing on any other problems whatsoever. I need to be focused only on these. Now, where does this tie in with mental foundations? That's awareness and cognition. So awareness being, I know that I have a problem, and I know that I am the one who's to be fixing it, and how I am affecting the situation around me. And cognition being, how and what and when and why am I focusing and prioritizing something? So your cognition is going to play into the base foundation of business in sales. I am only going to focus on sales. I'm not focusing on giving back. I'm not focusing on impact. I'm not focusing on anything else other than I need to convert right now. Because if I don't convert, I'll be out of business, and then everyone has a disservice anyways.
Okay.
So think about it in your photography business, right? Very early on, what'd your revenues look like? First year, if you remember.
First, like, real year in business, I think I made like $25,000.
Yeah, so the question becomes, you have to ask yourself, can I sustain myself on $25,000 a year?
At the time, yes.
Because
I was in high school.
Yeah, you're in high school.
Yeah, I was
you're
living with
living
my
at home.
parents, yeah.
Right, so your situation was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Can that 25 grand today sustain you?
No.
Right. So if you were
Definitely
in that situation, you would know right off the bat, I have to focus on sales and only sales right now. I can't focus on necessarily focusing on a specific new type of product or new type of how I want to take a picture or edit a photo or learn a new style of video editing, anything like that.
Yeah.
Your whole focus is with what I have today, I have to be able to sell more of it.
Yeah, I can't start a nonprofit if I'm not selling. So
Yeah.
that's why I can do the podcast, you know?
Yeah, exactly. The only reason we're able to do this and act within, so this business specifically has some aspects in that impact and give back, right?
Yeah.
The only way we're able to do that is because we are financially stable and we're able to take the couple hours that it takes to record an episode, get it transferred, and do all the behind the scenes work to have it go out and be available to people.
Yeah. If we were making $30K each, we could not, for many reasons, could not do the podcast. One, we wouldn't be qualified to do it. And two,
one wildly unqualified.
yeah, but also we wouldn't be able to give that time and energy.
Yeah, because the time and energy would need to be given to the sales piece.
Yeah.
To the sales level. Just that gross revenue, top line revenue, I need to earn XYZ more dollars to be able to create an opportunity that's different for me.
Yeah.
So that's the first real business level. You have to be able to, that's the question that really hits home for me. Can I sustain my lifestyle consistently on the sales that I have today and the revenue that I have today? And if the answer is no, that's
where you stop. You work there.
You stop thinking about anything else, and that's where you work until you can.
Okay. So once you can, and the answer is yes, what comes next?
Next comes your level of profitability and margin building, in my opinion. So let's say you have, what's your revenue now?
In like a year?
Yeah.
Like 150?
Okay, so you're at 150 now, right? Your life might not change from 150 to 250 if you don't understand how to make it an actual margin.
Okay.
If you don't have a larger net gain from 150 to 250, many businesses, ask me how I know, will go from 100 a month to 250 a month to 300 a month to 400 a month, but not have any extra profitability either built into the business and or built into shareholders or business owners.
Okay.
So there was a time where I had a company making $300-400 grand a month, but I wasn't taking anything more home from it than when it made 20 grand a month or 30 grand a month. And that's because it was all just going to expenses and there was a lot of bloat and a lot of fat, and you learn that over time. But a lot of that was, man, I just feel like I'm putting out fires all the time. That's not knowing what to work on.
Okay.
That's not understanding the mental foundations and how they tie into the actual business principles and business foundations of making an improvement. So if you're going from 150 to 250, what do? Well, the first thing you do is you test and track and understand exactly where your profitability actually lies. So something that I work with a lot of people in our one-on-one clients is we work on their goals first and, hey, your North Star, where do you want to actually go? But past that point, we go, okay, you make 250 now or 500, whatever the number is. Let's just say it's 250 and they want to get to 500. What they don't realize a lot of times is the first 175 or 200 of the 250 is made by doing one thing and one thing alone. And it allows them a lot of time freedom, a lot of financial freedom, a lot of responsibility freedom. And this last 50 grand takes the other 90% of their time. So what should we drop and what should we focus on? Why don't we double down on the thing that gives us the most and even think about cutting the thing that only gave us 50 grand, only gave us, 20% of what our actual revenue was, but it took 80% of our time. So how do we manage and balance that? That's when I think about building margins and building net gains in my life, that's what I think about. But you have to be able to reflect back on it and go, where is my profitability actually coming from? And how can I build extra profit and margin and net gains and capacity in my life throughout my day? So if I can only have so many one-on-one clients. So a one-on-one client cannot be $500.
Yeah.
Right? There's a supply and demand. There's a supply and demand of energy and capacity.
Yeah.
So one-on-one can be a substantial investment, but the results show for themselves. So it becomes worth it. If they didn't show, there wasn't any margin or net gains in their life, people wouldn't do it.
Right.
It wouldn't make sense.
You would not have any one-on-one clients left, like spots left.
Yeah. So let's use an example of your specific business. When you do weddings, how many weddings can you do?
In like a month?
A season.
Okay.
Let's say a year. You're from
Usually a year I average like 20 to 30 weddings.
Okay, so 20 to 30 weddings.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go from 150 to 250, you can't book 20 more weddings.
Yeah.
So it has to change. So what has to change? It either has to be price, or you have to start adding resources, other trusted people who will be able to run the weddings and work the weddings for you, but it's still under your brand.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But a lot of people will just try to add the thing.
Yeah, just
well,
run
this
themselves.
is what I know how to do, so I'll just do 2 weddings in a day and make sure that I'm cut off by this time, and I'm now they're running themselves ragged.
I don't even do I really don't want to do more than 2 weddings in a weekend. At one point I did 4 weddings in a weekend.
Woo.
Yeah. Now I'm down to myself doing like 1 or 2.
Yeah, these are typically I know we're using your example right now of photography and weddings, but this is very common for me to be working with people, especially in the real estate side, especially with flippers, recovering flippers, is because they're always trying to get, they think the next house, if I could just get that next sale, everything would be solved. But it's not, because it ends up creating more responsibility. More sales is more responsibility.
Yeah.
So once they get that sale, they end up having to manage the project for, so call it 90 days.
Yeah.
60 days if they're doing well, 45 if they're really good at what they do. Now they just created themselves 2 months of work, and by the time that it sells, they get a new windfall of cash, and then they go, well, I need that next one. If I just had the next one, and then the cycle starts.
And they do everything themselves.
Do everything. A lot of them do, unfortunately. But even if they don't, they find themselves in this cycle, this windfall cycle of cash out, cash out, cash out, cash out, lump sum in, have to somehow protect it, and then cash out, cash out, cash out, cash out, lump sum in. People are running their businesses that way. There's a lot of businesses out there that are 6, 8, 12, 16, 14, 16 weeks away from bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And they might be 5, 10, 15, $20 million companies because they're in the cycle of the next sale will solve it. It's not the next sale will solve it. It's what you're doing with the sales that come in that will end up solving it. So what mental foundation ties into that? That's a big awareness and cognition one. You're going to keep finding that in every principle. There's a reason those are foundational. But you're really starting to see business and life principles here. Because business and life principles, when you start stepping into the margin area or the profitability area, if you have a negative outlook, or if you're trying to solve your emotional problems through things, purchasing, and outgoing, what's not going to happen?
you're not going to grow.
You're not going to end up having net gains
Yeah.
or increased profitability. You're going to end up being break even, net zeros, maybe even a little bit behind. Now you're floating. Now you essentially have like a float of cash that you're trying to manage, and then you're just trying to get to the next windfall sale. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I think about when you're moving from sales to profitability or margin gains. That's why those mental foundations tie directly into those two. And I know this can be a lot, so you might have to listen to this a couple of times or sit down and think about it, maybe write it out.
And like apply it to your business or your situation.
Yeah, if you can sit down and apply this to your business and write
It'll
them
make
out
more sense.
and go, and just answer yourself this question. Can my life be sustained on the sales and conversion that I have today consistently? If the answer is no, stop there and start working on that. And understand that the mental foundations that tie into that is what's going to solve it. It's your awareness, your cognition, your ability to prioritize and focus. So next we have, after margins and profitability, we move into really the sustainability of the business through expectations and operations. So let's use you again as an example. For you to get from 150 to 250 in a healthy fashion that doesn't drive you insane, you are going to have to focus on this level because you're going to have to add people or you're going to have to increase margins through prices.
Yeah.
So either a wedding shoot moves from $3,500.
Yeah, on average, probably about 35. Yeah.
You either move from $3,500 and increase your quality and then bump it up to 10 grand to get to where you really want to get.
Yeah.
Or you have to be able to increase volume, but add team members, add resources. Might be human capital, might be financial capital, might be systems and processes, or a combination of all three. So I know you have some contacts and some people that you trust that you're really excited about. So it sounds like
I'm leaning toward the second one.
Yeah, leaning towards the second one of adding a team member.
Yeah.
And then being able to branch out and increase volume a little bit and maybe not affect the pricing so much.
Yeah, a little bit. It's definitely going to go up a little bit, but not.
Yeah, well, pricing doesn't go down ever.
Yeah.
I just got done typing out a post about inflation. I'm all riled up about it. So
here we go.
Pricing will never go backwards. It can't. So for you, your pricing will continue to climb the charts because it has to, especially supply and demand. And this is for anybody's business. The reason we're talking about this is if any business, what you have whatsoever, or skill set, even if you're at a job, your pay should consistently go up over time as you get better at it, right?
Right.
Now, that doesn't happen a lot of times because companies have a surplus of availability of people, and everybody on the planet is hiring right now. So you might have a difficult time negotiating that extra little bit, even though you're better at it, because they have somebody else lined up to take that spot at whatever price you're at. So you have to be able to look at your situation in that. So for you, if you're looking at the second option of adding a resource, now where do expectations come from?
What do you mean, like? What expectations of what?
So if you add somebody, right, and you're no longer at that wedding shoot, this is you got one chance at this, right?
Yeah.
That's like the stress of a wedding shoot. You got one chance at the right photo time, the right video time, everything, because it's their one day.
Yeah.
If you're no longer there and you have a team member there who's responsible for it, you have to somehow set expectations and standards because what those people are buying is your name.
Yeah.
Your name, your history, your proof. So for that other person to match that, now this is where the operations come in and you start to see, the only way that this business can grow is through becoming a successful small business and having, hey, this is the standard that we're at. We're here at this time or this early. We stay this late. We have this many shoots. We have this many, you know what I mean? Like you start getting in the more granular pieces of where the DNA of the business might change a little bit. But really, we're talking about the same thing because whether it's McDonald's, your photography, my education, my real estate, my portfolio, my books, whatever, somebody else's, whatever knickknack they sell, somebody else's tech thing, every time somebody adds something to operations and creates that, they have to set a standard and an expectation with accountability behind it. Yeah. So imagine you send your person there, right? You send your person to the wedding and you don't have a standard expectation or accountability set up. They show up 5 minutes late. They leave 1 hour early because they got something personal going on and they missed the 2 or 3 main shots that you always get, which that person paid for.
Train wreck. Worst nightmare.
I can see you fluttering now.
Yeah. Which is why I'm only adding one team member right now.
One at a time.
One at a time.
Because
testing the water. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you learning right now?
I'm learning how to manage a team and how to set those expectations.
And what mental foundation does that fall under? Principles. Business and life principles. Yeah. Very good. Exactly.
Yeah.
So and cognition, really, because you're going to focus on that. But yeah, that falls under business and life principles. So you can see how awareness falls in the sales category.
Yeah.
Cognition falls in the margins, revenue, or net gains, profits category. And you can see how business and life principles fall in operations. So you can see how the foundations really run side by side together. So if you can pair these things together, you can become really, really powerful. You're going to become deeper than the person next to you. You're going to become more understanding. You're going to practice awareness. There's that practice word again that we always talk about.
Whoa.
How do you get better at it? Do it again. So you're adding a person. You would never add that person. And maybe this is a good conversation to be having right now because this is coming up. You can't add that person without having a standard, without having an expectation, without having accountability. Well, what does accountability mean? Well, if you ever are late, even if it's 5 minutes, it can't happen more than once because that's going to be a loss of reputation for you, which will affect the base levels, the sales and the margins and the profitability. So right now, have you thought about that at all?
I've thought about it a lot. That's why I haven't done it before now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very stressful because it's my business and it's my name. And up until very recently, I've been the only person to show up and do everything because obviously I'm going to be accountable because it's all riding on me. So it gets stressful when you go to add another person because
you lose control.
You lose some of the control, and letting go of control is hard, especially when you spent so long building the business up.
Yeah. So when I think about your business and your mental foundations, you're probably hanging out in the business and life principles and ops right now.
Yeah.
Because you have great profitability. You have, well, let's start on the mental side. You have great awareness. We've talked about that. Mm-hmm. You're working on cognition, and I think you're getting better at it every day. You're actively practicing it. Now, in the business and life principle mental foundation, this is all brand new.
Yeah.
Positive world outlook, but this is really a brand new experience of, I'm setting something else up for someone else's responsibility.
Yeah, and like passing off some of the responsibility onto somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you move that over to the business side. You got good sales. You're sustainable. You have investments. You have net gains, so your profits are good. Your margins are good. And now you're looking to increase all of that through adding operations and adding somebody to the team. That's terrifying.
Yeah. It's not too bad.
Trusting I know you have a relationship with the person. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
But starting with that. People don't think about these things.
No.
People don't think about how these things correlate or even aware that they exist.
Yeah.
Let alone how do I apply them in a way that not only the business gets stronger, but my life actually gets better. That's the whole point. The business is meant to serve you not just serve the business forever.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, fourth level. Fourth level is on the business side is when we're transitioning. You can answer all the questions that my life's sustainable. I have great margins and net profit. I have a plan for all the profits. My income is growing. The money's going to work. My operations are predictable. I have trust in the team, and the team is working in a way that is sustainable for a long time. Like you can answer all of these questions. That's when we start moving into some of the impact, right? It's when you start thinking about, well, I want to donate or give more. I want to be able to supply more resources to whatever it is that is exciting to you.
Okay.
You get to pick whatever that is. So if we're going to use your example, you got the photography business. The photography business at this point sustains you in sales, has great margins. You now have teams that are out there that are under your name. You're essentially franchisable. Like you have your operations set in a way that people could, hey, I want to be consistent in my photography business. If I come under Aisley, if I'm under Aisley, I'm going to have consistent work to go off of. And I'm not really worried about building a business. I just want to be consistently busy and be paid well for what I do. like that would be an opportunity for, your business. So next on the mental foundations, we have our work ethic and we have our processes, right?
Yeah.
So work ethic and processes on the mental foundation really plays into everything on the business side. It's not just one,
Yeah.
right? It's not just at one singular level. You start to see that you're more working around. It's not so just a ladder that you climb up and down. You're constantly working towards and around
Yeah.
whatever's needed at the time. So these two top mental processes or two mental foundations play into everywhere on the business side, especially 4 and 5. 4 and 5 being impact and legacy. So when you're able to answer the questions of sustainability on the first 3 levels, which is why I wanted to focus so heavily on that early on, is because those 3 is what allows you to give back and create legacy.
Yeah, you can't give if you don't have anything to give. You can't. Yeah. There's no legacy if you didn't build it and do it right.
If you don't have any, if your cup doesn't overflow,
Yeah.
where are you giving from?
Right.
And it's probably from a place of unsustainability, stress, fear, anger.
And you're ruining your own life. And you're probably not doing that much good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're really trying to create a legacy without being sustainable first.
Yeah.
So in these last 2 levels, I'm gonna work through both of them in tandem, of impact giving, legacy. All of these things can give more to you than any of the first 3 levels of the business side.
Okay.
Which is funny because if you'd think that if I'm just giving out, right, that it
not.
wouldn't give back to me.
Right.
But what it ends up doing is it ends up recycling inside of your business. Do you want to be working within a business that gives back and has a great culture and loves on people, is big in the community, and overall is fighting a fight that you feel is worth fighting?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to be a part of that.
Right.
Right? You want to be led. Everybody wants to be led, some shape, way, or form.
Right.
They don't necessarily want to be sold, but they want to be led. That ends up strengthening your business over time. I see businesses and work with people in businesses that have great sales, have great foundational sales, have great profit margins, and have operations and systems that things are consistent. But they never take that next step. And they always find themselves revolving in their business, wondering when a fulfillment is going to be solved, without understanding that it is actually time for them to take that next step into the 4th and 5th levels of giving impact, influence, and legacy.
Yeah.
Because all of those things actually feed back into the business. I had a conversation with somebody today where he thought the problems that they were dealing with were process and sales oriented, when in reality, we don't have a money problem. We're sustainable. And the problem was at home. If you fix your home problem and you take care of wife, kids, whatever it is, and you start listening and you start prioritizing correctly, when you prioritize correctly, let's say you have 5 priorities. And right now, a lot of people's priorities will be business, problem solving, themselves, then their wife, then kids, or whatever it is, right? When they go to work on the business, everything below the business, since they're out of priority, is suffering. But when you get your priorities right, let's just say put wife first, kids second. Even better, you could put God first, wife second, kids third, business fourth, money fifth. It's funny, when you work on those top things, all the things below it get better.
Yeah.
They're the same 5 priorities.
Just rearranged.
One's in order,
Yeah.
and one's out of order. If you work on the out of order priority, everything else gets worse.
Yeah.
So if you put God 4th, and your wife 5th, and your kids 6th, and your business 1st, and money 2nd, and
Your best friends and your
your friends and your self-care 3rd.
Yeah.
Whenever you work on those top 3 things, 4, 5, and 6 get worse.
Yeah.
But if you put God 1st, wife 2nd, kids 3rd, what was the example? Oh, business 4th, money 5th, and then you put
group, yeah.
friend group 6. When you work on those top 3 things, the next 3 get better.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works. It's interesting. So if you think about that, that's why we're talking about the mental foundations, how they correlate with your business foundations, your business principles, and your business actions, and what you need to solve. And when you do that, and when you do those first 3 levels well, you then have the opportunity to go in the levels 4 and 5 of influence, impact, give back. And that's when things really speed up for you. But you have to be able to take that step. And when I think about your business, I really feel you are, that step 2 to 3.
Yeah.
That's step 2 to 3, because you got great margins, but now you're going to learn how to add resources and keep the margins. A lot of people would keep the same pricing, add a bunch of expense, and go, "Hey, I did extra."
Yeah.
But all you did was add responsibility. You didn't add any extra capacity or a net gain to profitability.
Right. I mean, we looked at my sheet with all my stuff. Like, you can see my prices going up over time.
Yeah.
And like growing, and my prices have gone up. My revenue has gone up. But now I really think I've hit the wall. If I don't step into number 3 and start, I will make the same amount as I did last year.
Yeah, because your response. Yeah, a lot of people hit. If you're listening or watching this, I want you to think about this. Whatever's in your bank account, is that amount a revolving door? For some reason, if I hit $100,000, it falls to 80, then I'll get it back to 100, and it falls to 80, and I'll get it back to 100.
Yeah.
100 grand is that revolving door. That's your top line limit right now with the way things are set up. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's 50, maybe it's 20, maybe it's 5.
Yeah.
There is a foundational problem somewhere that is causing the revolving door to exist. And this is how you solve it. This is how you can focus on that. For your photography, and now that you're adding human capital, you're adding somebody to go out and do more weddings, it'll be interesting to see the revenue and margin difference in 6 months. And then you'll be able to reflect back and look at it and go, okay, this is a measurable change that I can make.
Yeah.
All right, so I went from 150 to 200, but I only made an extra 20, maybe net, and the extra 20 cost me 40 hours of stress. Was it worth it? And you'll be able to answer that.
Yeah.
You'll be able to measure that at that point. And then you go, okay, how can I take that 20, make it 30, and 20 hours of stress through management or whatever it is?
Right.
And then you continue to progress and improve from there. And pretty soon, there's no reason you shouldn't have $1 million business in the next 24 months.
You stressed me out when you started saying that. Calm down. Take a deep breath. It's not that I don't believe I can do it. Before you jump into that and start going, last week, do you think you can do it? But I don't need you to. Don't say it like that.
Don't say it like
stresses me out.
Put standards on me. I don't like standards.
Do I believe that I will have $1 million business? Yes. But when you say 24 months, oh Lord, the podcast listeners hear it now. They're going to be like, did she do it in 24 months?
They're going to keep you accountable.
I know.
All the comments are going to be times a ticket. And they're going to be 23 months, 30 days, 23 hours, and 50 minutes and remain.
There's going to be a podcast episode in like 2 years. And the whole episode's just going to be a party. We're gonna have some
that would
cake,
be cool.
A $1 million party, and we'll just have cake.
That would be awesome.
And dance.
You're paying for it because you're the millionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the honor that you have. Hey, see, step 4 and 5, you get to give back and have some legacy.
I get to host the party.
You can buy everybody.
All of the listeners are invited.
Yeah, it's perfect. So, do you have any questions? I know that was a lot, but do you have any questions?
I don't think so at the moment. It kind of gave me some. While I was sitting here, you could probably see my gears turning.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of ideas and thoughts that I hadn't previously gone over with what I'm working through right now in the business. So there'll be some things that I'll try and change and like have conversations I'll have and stuff like that.
Did it help to know or see and hear how the mental foundations correlate directly in line with the business?
And it really helped to take a step back and look at it. Because like you're right. I went here, and now I'm here. But like it doesn't feel like I've climbed like that. So to see it and to understand that I'm like it does help.
Feels like you're climbing a ladder a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you go left foot up on mental foundations, and I'm gonna get my right foot up on the business, and left foot up on the mental, and right foot up on the business, and you're just gonna climb it up. and then find your way back around when you need to work on things and improve things.
Yes.
Whenever I break something, I have to go back. Yeah.
Go back and fix it.
I have to loop back around. Yeah, if you guys have questions, put them in the comments or reach out to us. I'm an open book. I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. If you guys found this valuable whatsoever, make sure to leave a like. Hit the little thumbs up button, and then you can reach out to us if you have questions. And then we'll be back next week with more valuable information from
Wherever we decide to pull it from.
proven history, from mostly pain and suffering, and then
Here we
figuring
go.
out why is it that I feel this way, and then being able to share that with you guys. That way, you guys can move forward quicker and at a healthy pace. That that's the whole mission. Whole mission's end financial suffering, so we want to be able to do that for you.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching.